Good morning, everyone. Little surprise for you. Thanks to Mercury retrograde, we have no camera. I have no camera. This will be a first for me. And I will sing you in. Come in. We've got an exciting day for you in this next hour. I cannot wait for you to meet Stanley Greene. Hello, Omar. You're here so early. Oh my God, and it's 2 hours earlier. So gosh, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So thank you, my friend. Yes, good morning. And here we go. Come on in, everybody. Oh, just relax as you come in. And think of what a beautiful day it is today. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Oh, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. And if birds fly over the rainbow, why then why can't I? Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't Good morning, everyone. So let me introduce you to my friend Stanley Greene in just 1 minute. We have a little Mercury retrograde. Camera has done a flip-flop and 4 retries did not stand a chance this morning. And so Stanley and I talked about this, and the show must go on. So Stanley was saying that he wouldn't have to do makeup and hair today. So I thought that was a real plus for a negative. So good morning, everybody. I'm so happy you're here. And let me take this down. And I want to, before I bring Stanley up, no, I'm going to bring him up right now. So let me get him up here. Good morning, Stanley. How are you?
Good morning, Leslie and everyone. I'm terrific and tremendously honored to be with you on Mind Over Matter Monday. I'm always impressed, and I'm always most of the time in the audience, and so I'm happy to be with you on stage.
Thank you so much. And I want to kick off the show with something very special. And then I want to acknowledge everybody here because, Stanley, I want you to get to know them the way all of these people show up for me. You know, this is Mind Over Matter Mondays, and this is about, as much as we can, selecting the way we're going to respond rather than react. And that's why you're here, because everybody, I cannot wait to share things about Stanley Greene with you. And it's really strange not being on video. I wonder if I'll still look at the camera like I'm in love, which is what I tell people to do when you're doing videos. So I'm very glad you're here. So we're going to kick off this show with something very special. I counted them up, and I've done 75 with different co-hosts of Mind Over Matter Mondays every week. And with that, I received this beautiful surprise from a very close friend and really kind of LinkedIn family member that he's been working on for a while. So allow me to introduce you to the brand new introduction to Mind Over Matter Mondays. And then I will acknowledge each one of you. Well, we'll try again here. There we go. And there you have it. I hope you all like it. What did you think, Stanley? Did you like it?
Oh, that was tremendous. Actually, it brought me back to visiting China and during the 2-year anniversary of the Beijing Olympics, and the music was very similar. It was very soothing, and it brought back some great memories.
Thank you. I'm so glad you like it. And I hope everybody else did. That was Aaron Gibson's. He's the Visioneer. And I will tell you that when I first met Aaron, there was something he actually saw right through all the surface stuff with me, right into my soul. And he created a 7.5-minute trailer video to go with my science fiction fantasy that was bestseller last year, The Possibility of Errata. So I'm so grateful. And he surprised me with this. And now I feel rather official, actually, since I have a proper intro. So, all right, let's see who's here. And I want you to meet everybody, Stanley, because these are people that really are kind of mind or mindset geeks in a way. They are very hungry and thirsty for understanding how our minds work and how important thinking is, even more than mind. So I'm excited to bring you in. But first, let me introduce you to everybody and welcome them here. And let us know where you're calling in from. And Omar is out in Phoenix, Arizona, depending on where he is traveling. He has Zoom party. And who do we really know them? Live shows, very innovative shows, very helpful and loving human being. Helped me with my YouTube channel, which I haven't looked at in a while. But anyway, he made it work. Thank you for being here, Omar. There's Dennis Pittico. It's so nice to see you, Dennis. I think you'll enjoy what we're doing. I have changed the format a bit to having a weekly co-host and bringing in people that are experts and have results in disciplines, concepts, and programs that actually have results over time, that are unique. And Stanley's Power Thinking, I'll run this right now so you can see, right? His Power Thinking corporation tenets really integrate beautifully with my work, with the principles of success, with a whole bunch of, with hypnosis, with neuro-linguistic programming. And the whole point, everyone, is so that you can pick and choose what resonates with you and expand your frame of reference on how you manage your thinking. And Stanley will tell you about thousands of ideas that you get and thoughts that you get every day, but we can't control them all by any means, right? So it's about how do we become agile thinkers. This is what I want to be able, when I'm triggered, when one of my fears shows up, I want to be able to respond rather than react as much as possible. So Dennis has 360 BizCat, a publishing platform, and is very much about supporting people, lifting people up who don't have it as good as so many of us do. And he's in Iceland right now. And oh gosh, Dennis, I am pretty much in love with about 800 or 900 AD, Iceland, Greenland, and Russia. So I'm writing about that right now. So that's very exciting. I'd love to have a conversation with you. He and his lovely wife took the 500-mile trek to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. You know about this. And so he wrote a book from that. Fantastic. Supports writers and many other people. And here is Elizabeth Falloon. Hi, Elizabeth. So glad you're here. I haven't seen you in a while. Elizabeth is an incredible consultant when it comes to self-image, makeup, and hair. So if you need any help in that area, please reach out to her. She's been a friend for a long time. And then Aaron. Aaron is the genius that, by the way, if you have a show every week, I highly recommend that you connect with him and let him put something together for you that really is the epitome of who you are. You see, when I see that swirling, whirling girl, lately I've had a few physical challenges and I kind of forgot about her until he popped this in my my message box as a surprise, and he reminded me of who I am. and I had forgotten. There's Adrian. Adrian is calling in from New England, big supporter of mindset work and everybody, actually. And here is, I say everybody, I don't know how she does it. I really don't want to gloss over it, really, because she loves my singing the most. I know she does, and I love that. Lisa Fevick is here almost every week, and she is a registered dietitian, Stanley. Now, her specialty is the foods that help defray some of the 100 symptoms of menopause. Everybody knows about this. Either you live with someone, right, or you're married to someone that is going through anywhere from 1 to 3 decades of menopause, which wreaks havoc in people's lives. And what I didn't know, and what Elisa explains, and she's on hiatus with her show this week or this summer, is that the foods that we eat can actually tone down some of those symptoms, but they're really good foods for everybody anyway. And so I'm so glad you're here, Lisa. She has other hidden talents. Absolutely. Here's our Leanna Stock, who is involved in diabetes and has been a long time supporter of this show. Linda Meyer, who is a chef and has a specialty with Italian cuisine. So let me know if I'm wrong about this. So Stanley, you should really get to know all these people. All right. They all are amazing, and they return each week because they know, like you know, with PowerThinking Corp, repetition is the first law of learning. So Linda, so glad you're here. And there's Christy Williams. She and I are part of the 2350 Network, which is another platform for personal development. And I usually don't go away from LinkedIn, but there are 2 places. And you all know me well enough to know that I'm really here on LinkedIn. So Power Thinking, which I'll explain to you, there's 2 calls each week on Wednesday with Stanley. And then there's 2350 Network. Those are the only 2 places I go off LinkedIn. Oh, that's not true. There is one more, and that's Dennis Pittico's Friendship Bench. So there are 3 things, but I really value my time, so I'm very selective. And that's why I'm so excited to have Stanley here, but also to share about the 2350 Network, which Christy is one of the founders or founding members, one of the first members. Let's say that. Both of us are. So thank you so much for being here, Christy. And there is our beautiful Charito calling in from the Philippines. So that means it's late for you. It's 10 o'clock at night or 10:20 at night. So you honor us by being here. I hope you love what we shared today. And let's see who else we have here. Adrian, I'm not going to read a lot of, there's Sharon Rose Winfield. Rosie Speaks. Or Rosie, yeah, with a hashtag. She is fabulous about mindset, which reminds me I want to talk to you about coming on this show, Rose, Sharon Rose. And here, and thank you for being here so often. And here we have 𝗚𝗏 𝗏𝗲𝗀. He's in Toronto, Canada. I call him the 21st century Rumi. He is a thought leader and does great posting. Repost his stuff. You'll learn phenomenal things. Let me see what you say here. Oh, thank you. I imagine you in front of me while we drink tuba face to face. Okay, I was thinking more San Miguel beer, a San Miguel beer, right? All right, we're almost done here now. Here we go, because I can't wait to get in here. But why do I do this? I do this because when you tell me who I am for you, it's always better than what I think I am. So I just want you to know who you are for me. And I want Stanley to get to know you. Joni is a hidden gem. She's very sweet and she loves to sing too. She's a powerhouse businesswoman with more than 2 businesses. So it's amazing. All right. And there is my friend 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗃𝗲𝗧𝗵𝗶, who is an RN. She was with us for 2 weeks doing interactive self-hypnosis. She's up in Rhode Island. And this is, check out 𝗍𝗃𝗲𝗃𝗲𝗃.com. Feel free to put your link in the chat. And Tracy, I think, just got back from Korea, and she's been traveling around the world, teaches Sun Tzu, The Art of War, very well versed in audio. And let me see what else. Oh, okay. Oh, you're calling in from Calgary. Thank you. I'm going to get right to it. Oh, there's 𝗓𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. She'll be here next week, where we're going to dive into neuro-linguistic programming. Here is and thank you, Sandra, for agreeing to be here next week. I'll have cameras, I hope. I'm going to order 2 cameras. Okay. Stanley, could you unmute just a bit, and then I'll alert.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, but I can hear everything else. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe I can do it. I don't know if I can. Oh, yeah, you did it. Okay, it's just not showing. Perfect. Thank you, Stanley. Charles Caldwell's calling in from Hong Kong. So if you're up on the East Coast at 1 a.m. Thursday mornings, you can join me most times in his Horizon X live every week, which is all about executive coaching, all the different facets. And Charles and I are both come from a place of landmark education, transformational technology, where he was a big macha. I was just a seminar person, but he led these all around the world, and he's in HR. So he will also be on this show if he agrees. Now it'll be 10 o'clock at night for him, but he also can help with how we think about things and how to stop ourselves from reacting to the things that scare us, of which there are many. Okay, look at this. All right, Aaron Gibson. Yes, and he has 2 programs, Aaron, so better get out your calendar, okay? Yes, and Omar, you've seen the movie trailers. And if you ever go to Melissa Houston's Coffee Chats at 9 a.m. Eastern on Saturday mornings, he did that intro as well. Also, Nicole Ungai Galindo's live show on Saturday nights. And I did fail to mention that Soul Man Live is returning this fall, Friday nights at 8 p.m. And that's Aaron's show. All right. So what I figured that it would be about 15 minutes. And oh my goodness, I've gone way over. Okay. Hey, Jose Angel, so glad you're here. I slipped into your room because I didn't have to do hair and makeup today. Neither did Stanley. Okay. Thank you everyone for being here. And there will be no one coming on stage right now. I want to share with you about my friend Stanley Greene. Now, look, I'd stumbled upon his work, I think, over a year ago, and I joined powerthinking.corp because one thing I saw was that he was repeating every week, going into these things that he talks about, which you will love, and I'm going to show you them. We both will, and introduce you stepping inside the concepts in power thinking. And then you can go to the conferences once a week. And many of you come here Monday at 10, and you come to Think and Grow Rich on Friday. And what you're actually doing as you grow in conscious awareness of your infinite potential, you are using auto-suggestion, repetition in spaced intervals over time. That's how we learn. So as we're growing in awareness, when we look at things that we looked at a month ago, 2 months ago, it's astonishing that there are new things there, but there really aren't. We are growing in conscious awareness of our infinite potential. So let me just tell you a little bit about Stanley. It's the official thing, right? He's the president and CEO of PowerThinking Corporation or Corp. And this company leads groundbreaking online courses designed to help people of all backgrounds improve their business and personal success rate by increasing their optimistic thinking and resilience. Now, for the last 12 years, he's been passionate about applying scientific research and proven methods to create value and deliver results for our clients, ranging from individuals and to global corporations. So that's kind of the official, right? That is the official Stanley Greene. Welcome. So, Stanley, you can unmute now that I've talked away for 25 minutes. How are you this morning?
I'm fantastic, Leslie. How are you? And thank you for having me.
I am wonderful, 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 and I want to show everybody the 7 skills. And while I bring that up on the stage, well, no, I won't do that now. I want you to tell everyone how it is that you stumbled a dozen years ago on what you call now power thinking. And I know that you bought the company because you found it had great value. So how did that all occur briefly? And what is it that appealed to you so much that you would move out of corporate where you've had many high positions in telephone company, et cetera? We're not really going to go there today, but what I want to know is, what was it about power thinking and how did you find out about it? And to know that to take the risk, to step out on faith and invest in a company which is a dozen years ago that now is helping people around the world. Tell us just a little bit about that, if you would, please.
Sure. And thanks everybody for being out there. I know some of you, and some of you are Power Thinking Plus members like Leslie, like Christy and Omar and Jose. And so really appreciate you. But power thinking was something that actually evolved over many years. Experiences in my personal life of resilience and watching my mother, bounce back from adversity, running different companies and going in to pretty much save those companies and turn them around. But the key elements to each of the companies was the people. And I chose not to get rid of people and bring in my own people that thought like me. But if I could change the thinking, folks who felt defeated and powerless, to being folks who were just tearing it up in terms of their attitudes, the achieving objectives, then that would be a great thing. And I was able to do that. And in 2005 is when I actually came across a company. I was invited to a fundraising meeting for a startup company that was looking to commercialize the material, evidence-based psychology, positive psychology material that came out of the University of Pennsylvania's Positive Psychology Center. So they signed a deal, the University of Pennsylvania, with a company called Reflective Learning to spread this all over the world through offering it to companies. They created a 6-hour online course that they spent tons of money on and charged companies to, have this, given to their employees so that those employees can be more resilient, more powerful. So I saw the concept. I said, this is the kind of thing that I've been doing, in my entire business career and in my sports and coaching children and so forth. So I wanted to be the CEO, but they already had a CEO. Now, fast forward, another 5 years, and the company was having problems. They weren't reaching their objectives, or at least the objectives that the investors set for them. And they shut the company down, including the lead psychologist, Dr. Martin Seligman, who is ranked number 31 of all the prominent psychologists in the 20th century. And so, he was out and they shut everything down. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'd love to buy it. And I asked one of the lead investors who I developed a relationship with, hey, could I buy it? And he said, sure. And we negotiated a deal. And in 2011, I formed PowerThinking, and then it was 2011. It was July, around this month, 14 years ago, that I created PowerThinking. And then within the next 30 days after I created PowerThinking, we bought reflective learning, the assets of reflective learning. And it's been, going, gangbusters from there. I shouldn't say gangbusters. We've had challenges and setbacks, but there was nothing that deterred me from continuing to focus on how we can help people with this tremendous material. And we've done it in Tokyo for the Japan Positive Psychology Association. I got a 10-year visa out of Chongqing, China, and I did work there. We did it in Beijing, and for various companies like Merck, Aflac, Comcast, and now there's a major healthcare company, and this is where we really want to be, that we're working with, and I have a meeting this afternoon with them to get things set up with them. So that is, essentially where we are today, and really excited that we've been able to do this with LinkedIn Audio, and many of you have been in those rooms until they shut that down. But we do our calls every Wednesday.
This is fantastic. Yes, absolutely. Now, how do we know each other, Stanley? How did we meet, and what was it that connected us? I know that's a loaded question, but what was it that resonated? What was the common denominator between the two of us when I first met you?
Well, it was about the mind that we
both. No.
Oh, no. Wait a minute. It's basketball.
Thank you. Okay,
That's
so
right.
You guys, this is what I want to embarrass him just a little bit. Okay, so what you don't know, and like many athletes, and Stanley also knows about Think and Grow Rich and knows how to apply the principles of success. In fact, his sticking his neck out and investing in that company, when I say sticking his neck out, taking a risk, was based on faith and a burning desire. He saw something, but he didn't know how it was going to work. But we started out with basketball. So here's what I want you to know about Stanley. Between 1974 and 1978, by the way, I had two children, one in 74 and one in 78. So while you were at the University of Pennsylvania, and he was the captain of the Penn basketball team, there's something really special that happened for him that I discovered doing a little sleuthing. So Stanley was known for the Go Stanley cheer. Do you remember that, Stanley?
Oh, yeah. I'll never forget it.
Well, let me tell you, and you can tell us a little more about it. But in his sophomore year, he was the sixth man on the team, which means he didn't play a lot, right? I mean, right? So he was on the bench, and I guess they were down to the last at the Penn Classic that year, and they called him up off the bench. And so Stanley, so what happened then? Tell us briefly. How did it, was it the audience or somehow that was written about and printed in many newspapers? We had newspapers back then. So Stanley, what were you doing? Didn't you make you make the final basket?
Yeah, well, actually, as a sixth man, I was the first person to come off the bench, and I played a lot because I played very aggressive defense, and so I was called upon to try to stop the other team's star player. And we had guys like I played against Bernard King, who became a top 50 NBA player. Another one out in Pittsburgh when we went to that Pittsburgh Classic, and where the cheer actually was created, I was charged by Chuck Daly, who's a Hall of Fame coach. He coached the Dream Team with Michael Jordan and those guys after he left us, and then coached the Detroit Pistons to 2 NBA championships. But he would always call on me to guard the other team's best player. So in Pittsburgh, we played Duquesne University, and their best player was a guy named Norman Nixon, who won an NBA championship with the Los Angeles Lakers and Magic Johnson. So he was their best player. He also married a great producer in Hollywood by the name of Debbie Allen, and they're still together. But we actually, in that game, went to triple overtime, which means
oh my gosh,
we went in one overtime, second overtime, and a third. And I fouled him out of the game in the second overtime, and we were able to win in that third overtime because of my defense. And he actually shook my hand, because of the job I did on him. But during that game, the band actually started playing the drums, and they would go, and they would yell out in unison, "Go Stan Green." And it became a cheer that the entire stadium, when we would play our home games, would break into. And then they would do it at football games. They would do it at hockey games. And it became a standard cheer. And it went on for 10 years after I graduated. So it was absolutely.
Oh my God. Okay. So I just have to ask you, the first time you heard them all screaming and "Go Stanley, go," were you feeling humiliated? What were you feeling? Or do you even remember, as you're hearing people cheering your name, the pressure is on? Do you remember what it was like, or did you even hear them?
Oh yeah, I heard them. And
Okay.
when I first heard them, I said, "Wait a minute, are they yelling my name?" And my teammates would look at me as, "Why are they yelling for you?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know." But it was because I was very fast and very quick, and I was very I played with a lot of intensity and enthusiasm. And I think they appreciated that. So, but it actually made me play harder when they did that. So,
yeah, I guess a little bit of pressure. Now, how basketball came up is because it was during ACC basketball season, and I'm down in Raleigh, North Carolina, between Duke, UNC, and NC State. So this North Carolina in the United States, and ACC, Atlantic Coast Conference basketball, and then the NCAA. So the timing was such that, and that was our connection to begin with. And of course, it's the mind, absolutely. So Stanley, let's get into power thinking and the concepts. Sure. And thank you for sharing a little bit about yourself, right? Because these are things that I know the people that are attending love hearing about, the one-offs, right? The things the sleuthing that we can do, but also how, so much like us, you are. Stanley is a very kind and generous human being. And let me just turn this banner off for just, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Here we go, banners. It's so weird without the camera. At least you can't see me. I guess that's not a bad thing. All right, let's take a look here. I think this is the one. Let me see. No, it's not the one. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay. All right, so I want to introduce you, as I understand power thinking and the concepts and the principles. As you've been listening to how I describe the mind, and just understand that for simplicity, Stanley doesn't distinguish the mind, but he absolutely knows about the mind. It was more for, I think the reason he uses brain is because it was more simplified, and he knows I'm always going for simplification. So power thinking has 7 skills of resilience. This is an in-depth program. Now, I have one that I did for 16 years, the 8 Essentials of Performance and Achievement, that has 8 essentials. These are in-depth training programs that work through repetition. And these are the 7 skills of resilience, that is, to be flexible. And I've listened to all of them with him, but I've asked him to pick 2 for today to introduce you to these skills of resilience, so that you'll get an idea of how the program works. And over here on the right is the perfect graphic, by the way. PowerPoint brought this up. But detecting icebergs, understand that what's below is where your paradigms are, your ego, your fears, your habits. It's not really thinking, it's reactive. And you've seen me show this a little differently. And what's above the water is your conscious thinking. These are the things we're working on right now. That's number 3. And then avoiding thinking traps. So of the 7, those 2, what I'd love to ask you, Stanley, if you would give us a couple of examples and allow me to try or attempt to relate what you're sharing to what we all know, or at least that as best as we can. Would that be fair enough?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So you can go ahead and begin with, and go ahead and say anything you want about that's just my observation. And tell me if I didn't do that right, or if I left something out first. I think that's the most important, while I try to figure out how to make you bigger and this smaller. So I'll be, while you're explaining.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. And so the important thing is that we start with this base and the foundation for what we're doing. And the foundation was a discovery made by a prominent psychologist, Dr. Martin Seligman, back in the late 60s when he was a young psychologist at the University of Pennsylvania. And he actually just retired last year from teaching, but he heads up the University of Pennsylvania's Positive Psychology Center. And they actually have done great work with the U.S. Army with their program called Comprehensive Soldier Fitness, which includes what's called Master Resiliency Training. And this is the same work that we licensed from the University of Pennsylvania as well. So Seligman discovered that there's something, and this is the important foundational work, that there's something called learned helplessness. It is a thing that people can actually fall into this state of helplessness or feeling powerless when they suffer from a traumatic event, when they experience a traumatic event, or have a repeated failure to succeed. So think about that. And how many people in our lives, and maybe even us, and I know it happened to me, I didn't realize it until my wife pointed it out many years ago. And it was associated with a company that I turned around. And then when it went to merge, they, got cut out of the deal. And that was very traumatic, given that I helped the company to succeed. So these things happen to us all. No matter how quote unquote successful we may be, we have incredible and crushing setbacks. So he discovered this, that this thing called learned helplessness is one of the leading causes of depression. So then he started studying the opposite. So if people can learn to be helpless and learn to be powerless, can they learn the opposite? Can they learn to be more resilient? Can they learn to be more optimistic? And what they concluded through their research was yes. And they then identified a set of strengths that resilient people have, like their ability to control their emotions and their impulses, their belief in their ability to succeed, and their reaching out, which is actually a strength and not a weakness. And so those are some of the strengths. So how do you get stronger? Not by just talking about it, but by practicing skills. And, Leslie and I have this, common interest and love of basketball, and with basketball and with, music, whatever it is that you want to excel in, there is a series of things that you have to do and do over and over again until you can get to that point of more perfection, or at least close to it. And so these are the skills that you see on the screen that the Positive Psychology Center identified as skills. And if we can practice these skills, then we can be in a position where we can control our emotions more, where we can control our impulses, where we can be more optimistic, where we learn to be more resilient.
Well, let me ask you a question, a quick question about this. Now, there are 7 skills, And what I noticed is that what you do each week is you pick one. And as opposed to, which I think is really insightful, covering them all over and over and over again. So we know that repetition is how we learn. And so what is that because the practice needs to occur consistently with that particular item? Well, why don't you cover them all every week? And why do you choose to pick one and delve into it each week? Because for me, it sounds like, this is the proper use of auto suggestion, right? Which is, and we're basically feeding ourselves with this idea over and over and over again until it sticks. So what is this approach, and where do you get your best results? Is it one of these at a time? Is it attempting to do them all at once, or mastering one at a time? I'm interested in your thoughts on that.
Sure. Well, first of all, I didn't want to take up much time for folks. So we only go 30 minutes. And so in that 30 minutes, and only once a week, we do it 2 times on Wednesday, 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern time, and then 9:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. And many folks attend both. So in that 30 minutes, I do attempt to at least give that overview, when we can do that, of the inner strengths and the skills, so that we have that framework. They understand the framework, and we're repetitive about that. But then we want to do a deep dive into one. And in that deep dive, we give people like yourself, who consistently, comments on these. We show a video. We send a video out the night before, and that's only 2 to 5 minutes. We don't want to be very lengthy in that. And then we, like we did last week, we focused on detecting icebergs. Tuesday night, we sent out a 5-minute video that actually was developed by the U.S. Army and the University of Pennsylvania for detecting icebergs, because they taught this same course. And then on Wednesday, we'll delve into it, and we'll have people comment about it. And that's part of the learning. And so each week we will select a different skill or strength. And all people have to do is just plug in, because over time, the repetition sets in.
That's right. And this relates well to Landmark Education's program, where you go to a 3-day intensive where you learn everything really intently. And then you spend 3 months, once a week, practicing the things you learned in that weekend. And my program was the same way. 12 weeks, every week, a different topic. Like you're talking, yours could be 7 weeks, and then it's repeated again. Well, why would it? The thing is that you're growing so fast in awareness that when it's repeated again, you hear all sorts of new things that you were not ready for, that you might have been confused by. So, Stanley, give us an example of a thinking trap. That is that jumping to conclusions, or is that detecting iceberg? Give us a couple of examples of when we get stuck in a thinking trap. I suspect that has to do with perspective.
Sure. So we first of all, of the seven skills that you see on the screen are broken down into 2 categories. The first 3 are what's called awareness skills. And the next 4 are action skills. 80% of what we do to improve our resilience and our response to the negative things that happen is actually being aware of what's going on in our minds. And to that end, we have to recognize that our brains are just tremendous machines, and they're processing minimum of 50,000 thoughts every day. Every second and a half, there's a thought popping into our head. So the goal is to be more aware. Unfortunately, 70 to 80% of these thoughts are negative. So if we can recognize when our thoughts are going awry, and understand these thinking traps, and so that when a thinking trap pops into our head, or we're moving into a point where we may be jumping to conclusions about something without evidence, right? Or personalizing. You saw this big thing over the internet where the CEO was cheating, and they were caught on a Coldplay cam, and there've been all kinds of memes around it.
Okay,
right?
so these are triggers then.
Yes.
So you're okay, and in the work that I do, these are your fears. It's your fears that don't think. It's part of the subconscious, which is below here, where it reacts automatically based on the repetition of that fear, which you pointed out when you first began speaking about that. When you experience it over and over again, we've learned that very often the initial fear is completely felt, because mind is a cellular activity. So basically the cell's vibration changes when you're in a fearful state. And it lowers, which is not natural. And the whole idea is to catch it, and with your conscious mind, with what we're talking about now, to, let's say, to move from fear into faith. I mean, isn't that's so for me, it's those fears that are the icebergs, right? When you go to, let's say, when you went to buy the company, or invest in the company, had you not been really focused on helping people and really inspired by the possibility of what you were going to do with this company, that how could anybody just leave that company and not do anything with it? You just had to. Well, the normal reaction would be, I can't afford it, before even looking. Or it could be someone else who says, oh, I've never done that before. But of course, we know with you have. So for me, it seems like the thinking traps are the triggers from our fears that do their very best to derail us on doing something we've never done before. Also, tell me again about you said three were awareness and 4 were action items. I just want to get clear on that.
Yes. And the thinking traps are big in terms of awareness. So in terms of the purchase, where I was concerned about the price, so I jumped to conclusions that because the price was so high, that, and I had to be careful about that there's no way I can buy this company. Right. And then I minimize, the positives around this, and that the guy that the major investor who was selling it was, we had a great relationship. But I magnified the fact that, well, this price was just too high. That's a thinking trap, minimizing the positive and magnifying the negative. Another negative is mind reading. That's another thinking trap.
Oh, I love that one. That's one of my favorite ones. Tell them about this one.
Yeah, mind reading is where we think we know what the other person's thinking. Like the mind reading trap that I fell into in buying the company was, there's no way that he's going to come down to the price that I want to pay. So I thought I knew what this person was thinking. And instead, in his mind, he was thinking, Stan's the guy I want to sell this to, because he revealed that to me later, because he has the perseverance and the passion for this. And so because of that, how he felt about me, and I couldn't read his mind, so I didn't know he felt that way about me. He was willing to be very flexible, not necessarily on the price, but on the terms. So I gave him, and I reverted back to, something I learned in Secrets of Power Negotiating by Roger Dawson. Make it a win-win deal. He got his price as long as I could get my terms, and my terms were low down payment, and then we can pay out over time. So that's, the mind reading thinking trap that I had to overcome. And there are other thinking traps like tunnel vision. There's only one way to do the deal, and that's to get the guy to the price that he wants and try to raise the money to do that. I had to get out of that tunnel vision and come up with some creative ways to make the deal work. And there are other thinking traps as well. But what happens is that those thinking traps are fueled by the iceberg beliefs. Like you have that great diagram below the surface, we have these deep-rooted beliefs. Well, there's no way I'm going to be able to come up with the money.
Those are the
to do that.
fears.
Yes, those fears.
Yeah. And they are stronger because not only did they happen to us, at least once for all of us, where we've been criticized, we didn't have enough money, we got sick, whatever. There are 6 basic ones, which I've shared with you a bunch of times. But in the experience that you're in, you can almost recognize the inner voice. And so what about detecting icebergs? Tell us some more about the icebergs.
Yeah, so a great example for icebergs is something that I talk about all the time in terms of my experience. And I was very introverted, and I'm still somewhat introverted, growing up. And so I came up and I got into a management, graduated Penn and worked for the telephone company, what is now Verizon. But I was afraid to do any speaking in front of groups of 3 or more people. And you can't get to middle management and the higher levels without being able to address a group. So I had this iceberg belief, this deep-rooted belief that I could not be in front of people and be comfortable. And I had to overcome. First of all, I had to detect it, and that's detecting the iceberg. That, wait a minute, there is this deep-rooted belief that's holding you back. And then I had to do something about it. And that's actually number 4. I had to challenge that belief. And yes, I can, just like I could overcome other things when I couldn't play basketball and was teased and I had to practice, and I became a Division I player. I could do the same with speaking. And I got help. I joined Toastmasters and I became a comfortable speaker.
So, and also in this work with mind, what you're talking about is faith over fear. It is having enough desire, clarity of what it is you want to do, what impact and what difference it will make, enough so as to ignore the fear. And the fear is strong. So the icebergs are our fears, in which we have perfect faith because we've thought about them over and over and over again. So it sounds to me like, from your example, that it was the desire to improve that had you practice enough to become a Division I player. There is something that compelled you. Now, we are just about out of time here, Stanley, and I saw a message that we want to have you back. If you would come back, and I want to do this again, and to go further into the thinking traps and detecting icebergs, but also to touch on the other ones, if you would be willing to do that. Would you?
Oh, come on. You know the answer to that is yes. Of course.
Okay.
For you, Leslie, of course.
Oh, this is really, really so good. By the way, Stanley's degree is in urban studies, but in 6th grade, he wanted to get into film. That's another little secret, I'll tell you. But the other thing, here's how you get in touch with him. And I want to thank you, Stanley, for being here. Everyone for being here. Please follow and connect with him. And if you were piqued by what's there, you don't have to understand everything. All of it should not be clear. I'm still in a state of confusion, right? Obviously, my description of it wasn't completely accurate. And I've been, it takes something with consistency to be able to absorb. I'm looking at the camera, how silly, to absorb this information and practice it and apply it. So you can connect with him here on LinkedIn. Absolutely. Now, these training calls, and he'll answer you, are Eastern time, 7:30 on Wednesday. I'll be there. and 8:30, excuse me, that's 9:30 p.m. That's a typo. It's 9:30 p.m. on Wednesday. And if you sign up for it, then you'll get the video the day before, but you don't or early the next morning, but you don't have to have that because he describes it and often puts the link in there. That is the link to Stanley's website where you can find out more about that. And the best bit, oh, we're sitting right on 11 o'clock. He has a brand new Power Thinking app. Stanley, I am going to close this out and tell us a little bit about the Power Thinking app really quickly, please.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic. Talk about, retraining the mind and planting seeds. We have the app will have the notifications, Power Thinking boosts that keep you positive during the day. It'll reinforce the training. You can access the calls through the Power Thinking app, and it's a 30-day free trial. You can just go to, and it has AI as well. You can ask it anything about your mental well-being. It's all built into the app. You can just go to Google or Apple Store, Power Thinking Corp, CORP, and download the app and check us out. 30-day free trial, cancel anytime.
And that is so fantastic. I am so grateful that you are here and we're able to be here today. I'm glad that you had extra time so you didn't have to deal with hair and makeup, right?
Exactly.
I mean, now listen, this has been the wildest day for electronics going bad, but the best part about Mercury retrograde, which happens a few times a year, and it's a few weeks each time, and planets are moving backward, and supposedly you're not supposed to have surgery, sign a big contract, just put it off because it may have to be done again. We don't know exactly how these things work, but frankly, when I had surgery, I was willing to have the surgery not in Mercury retrograde. So they say what can go wrong will go wrong. The best part about it is when something goes wrong, we can just blame it on Mercury retrograde and let it go, which is silly. But rather than stressing over it, because when all this was happening, we were laughing, right, at how ridiculous all this was. So Stanley, thank you so much for being here. And please connect with everybody, and I will invite you back and we'll do a part 2.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me, Leslie, and everyone. Thank you for being there. Really appreciate each and every one of you.
And you are welcome. And let me take care of this. Okay, everybody. We're doing, let me show you this real quick. Jump off anytime you want, of course. I adore you all for being here. But on Friday, 10 a.m., we're into imagination. There are 2 kinds of imagination, creative and synthetic. I think you will love it. And as we move out today into a brand new week, I'll leave you with this. Have a phenomenal week.